Javed Akhtar has voiced sharp outrage over the reception given to Afghan Taliban Foreign Minister Amir Muttaqi in New Delhi and in UP, where he visited Deoband. Now, Javed Akhtar says that he has to hang his head in shame. He's so ashamed that Afghan minister was given this reception. You know that Afghan ministers, the Taliban itself, have been on the wrong side of the law, on the wrong side of humanity by restricting their women in many different ways. Javed Akhtar's words there has ignited a national debate now on India's diplomatic choices and the treatment of women. As India, of course, has Indian diplomats, Indian External Affairs Ministry, the Indian government has been very clear that this is nothing but an alliance on lines of business. But when it comes to women and the way Taliban treats its women, several questions were asked by the Indian media, journalists as well, to Taliban, and they said, well, this is our rivaj. That's what Taliban said in response. But nonetheless, as much as India is doing business with Taliban, there were several questions that were raised and hard ones by Indian journalists and the media to the Taliban. But what was really sad was the kind of reception they really got in Deoband. In fact, Deoband, Darul Uloom Deoband in Uttar Pradesh, welcomed with a huge crowd that came by to welcome the Afghan minister. And this was also something that Javed Akhtar slammed, saying Taliban leaders' role in banning girls' education in Afghanistan is questionable. How can Indian Muslims really welcome him in this fashion? He says, my Indian brothers and sisters, what is happening to us? And a valid question, quite clearly. Muttaqi's visit here comes after the UN Security Council's Taliban Sanctions Committee approved an exemption to the travel ban imposed on him. The Taliban foreign minister has been under UN sanctions since Jan 2001, including a travel ban, asset freeze and arms embargo. Last week, a row erupted after the absence of women journalists in Muttaqi's media interaction in Delhi, but that changed a day later. Women were finally allowed. In response, Muttaqi held another press conference inviting women journalists to try and clear the air. So, but it doesn't sit well and doesn't feel right for Muttaqi, Afghan Taliban member, to come into India and receive that kind of reception. Of course, questions being raised on India's stand here.